Speaking moistly.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our usual Tuesday afternoon episode of Speaking Moistly with me, as usual. Greg, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing great. How are you?
All right, is this Russell Brand?
I know. I
I
don't
love
know.
your work.
Yeah, they're
um,
doing it. Is it going to be cryptocurrency? Is the World Economic Forum? Is it coming?
he see the thing is he can skate. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's just because he's so famous, but he can skate that kind of like he can bring up those topics. If I had brought up any of those topics in the way that he's bringing them up, even by saying he says like I'm not an expert, don't listen to me, I'm not an expert. I'm don't listen to me. I'm just some idiot in my garage, right? But like he gets away with it, and then
I see. We're gonna start this speaking moistly
oh
off with a spicy topic here.
oh
I
oh
have kind of like a conspiracy theory about some of this. I really think that some of this Russell Brand stuff, as informative and as this content might be, what I don't like about it is I feel like it's almost predictive programming, and I feel like if we talk about what their goals are of the World Economic Forum, and it's happening, it's
if you
going to
say
happen. We're
if you
like
say
we're wishing it into existence by like thinking and envisioning it happening. And I
if
think
you
that
say
Russell
Candyman
Brand,
too many times,
something like
it's
that,
like
and
brings it
and
into
that's why I
existence.
actually don't like Russell Brand's content. I think it's cursed. It's like, are they
Interesting.
going to do this? Is this what's going to happen? It's like, no, 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 that's
There
not
have
what's going to
been
happen, Russell.
so there
Stop
have
it.
been yeah
Stop,
really
stop, stop like thinking it and manifesting it into existence, because it's not going to happen, folks.
there have been topics that I have not covered because my logical conclusion took me to a place that I didn't want to talk about because I thought if I
Mm,
say this might give somebody an idea who doesn't think the way I think. And then
mhm.
those people might be able to actually do something about it. And I don't want them to go in this direction. And so like there have been things that I've purposely avoided covering because of that inherent, because
Yeah.
yeah, is it the chicken or the egg? Like, did this happen because I mentioned it on that, like that time? And I mean, my following's not big enough for that, I don't think, but the butterfly effect, right? Like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally open to what people would consider pseudoscience these days. I'm like really into like interesting stuff where it's like the science of suggestion, like the science of like hypnosis without even you knowing it. Like
Oh
how
goodness. Yeah.
how susceptible we really are to
That's
messages.
called,
You know,
that's called propaganda, man. And like,
well, and there's a lot to it. There's like a
oh,
lot to it. It's
yeah,
deep, right?
it's
Especially
very,
especially with like human psychology and how like there's a
well,
lot to it.
what happens when, so like there have been studies where if you have imagine four people in a study and the three people with you in the study, you're the actual genuine person that they're studying. Three other people are doctors, and the person giving you the presentation is doctors. They present you four lines and they say like which ones of these are equal and whatever. And the three other people agree on the wrong answer. And you look at
Mm,
the at
hmm.
the at the lines and you want to say the right answer, but the peer pressure forces you to the wrong answer, right? You see?
Right.
And so, like, if it doesn't matter if reality is slapping you in the face every single day, you will not even consider going against what all of these other people say because we're social creatures, right? We're social, we're trained to be obedient to the masses. And if the masses believe something,
We want to be part of the tribe. It's about social survival, right? That's what I
yeah,
think. It's
yeah,
it's because
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yep.
back in the day when we lived on like in the field or like on the flat, it would be like I need to, if I
On the
if I don't
flat.
social if I don't get along with these people socially, then like I'm gonna die, like
Yeah,
literally.
well, and I mean there's in any situation, right? Like right now you've got your house and your all that other stuff, but if everybody abandoned you, if everybody turned their back on you, your banks were frozen, your employer said no more, your parents
Hmm.
and your siblings decided that you like Trump too much or you like somebody too much, and that's that, game over. You are cut off from everything, you are isolated, and that's dangerous, and that could lead to your death, and you want to avoid that, right? And that's all social, like that's all, like that's all punishments that man doles out to each other. So it's an interesting situation that's and I mean, like, so
I'm just thinking of a funny skit where it would show like way back in the day of like social survival when you're in the tribe, and then the chieftain's like, "Wait, you like Trump?
hold on
Get
well,
out
now
of
what do you
here!"
get, dude? You just
They're
gave it
all like
away.
they're in
Well,
loincloths and they have
that's
like
that's like a
sticks.
40 second That,
Yeah.
that's perfect, dude. Do that one. That's great. Just like four guys standing around a caveman.
And
Like
they're like ooga boogieing, and then it's like, wait a minute, you like Trump?
get out of here.
Speaking English all of a sudden.
Uh,
I can't
no, it's
believe you,
good.
man.
It's
Get
good.
out of
I
here.
see. I don't have, and I'm not going to cut this out. So this is going out. This is going out to the YouTube audience. So I mean, you got to beat people too. That's a great nugget. That'd go viral. People
Dude, if people want to make that, go for it.
All
Just
right.
put a TikTok, make it yourself.
I can't wait to see the variations.
Yeah,
It's great. It's a
put
good,
the link in the description below in the comments, guys.
Yeah, please do. Okay, Twitter. What do you think about Elon, man? Okay, I said just before you weigh in.
Yeah.
Should I wreck it with my opinion? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think I know all angles of this, so you can go throw a curveball if you want.
No, I don't. Well, I don't know if there's a curveball. Like, there's basically two ways. I look at this like the ending of Wayne's World. There's either like the super happy ending, right? Like, right? Like, and he's like a white hat, right? And he's like, he's, the savior of mankind. He's riding in on his white horse to white knight, like Western society.
He's our savior.
When the government's failed, Elon came through. Like, there's
Rocket Man. Oh my God.
Yeah. But there's the other version where he's the controlled opposition, that Twitter was losing so much. Twitter was losing people. Trump was opening up his own social media, and other people would inevitably open up their own social media, and Twitter would lose its ability to really, dictate the public conversation. And so Elon Musk is sent in to rescue their control over free speech by, surrendering some back a little bit, but ultimately controlling it, right? They've got the algorithm. It's open source, though, if Elon Musk sticks to his word. So I don't know, white knight or a terrible, terrible mistake handing all that power over. And the other aspect of this that I want to say is, it's weird that we're begging Elon Musk for free speech back. Okay. White knight?
Yeah, so I think that the thing that is unanimously positive about what's happened with Elon Musk is, and I think he very well could be controlled opposition, you never know, but why it's good in like the public eye right now is because Elon didn't purchase Twitter out of a concern of like, what's the number one thing that he brought up? It was free speech.
It was free speech, yeah.
So like that, even as a principle of him, like that's why he bought it. Like that sends a really good message in terms of like, why
his messaging is great.
Yeah. Like, because it's like, if he was some sort of like neocon or was some sort of, operative who was just going to like ruin it, he probably wouldn't be so, open about that. Yeah, no, I'm getting this to get free speech back and to do, to do something about it. So like, I think that's unanimously a good sign. However, you're right. It could basically go one of three ways. Number one is it goes terribly wrong, and he starts the de-anonymizing of the internet. Like he gets the ball rolling of de-anonymizing. So anonymity, right? Yeah. De-anonymizing.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So right now you can get an account on a lot of different things, and you just need an email address, and sometimes you need a cell phone number. But even then, you don't even necessarily have to give your real name or anything like that, and you can like start an account. Something that Elon suggested is, hey, we'll make it so that you can prove that you're a human being and you can get a valid check mark. So that sounds kind of nice, but it's also, if you were to push that to its logical conclusion, then that
sounds like a digital identity to me.
Sounds like a digital identity, exactly. And also, like, to take the anonymity away from the internet, like that would be really sad, because I'm hoping in Elon Musk's Twitter, we can still have the parody accounts and we can still have the random shit posters. Cause like that is like one of the best parts of Twitter, in my opinion. Like some of these like rogue accounts who have something really funny to say. And it's like, hey, I'm like Hillary Clinton's panties. You know what I mean? Like, when a Twitter account like that pops up, it's part of the fun of Twitter, like just being able to like throw out the random tweets and the beauty of a good platform when it's designed well, like Twitter. It's like, the good stuff rises to the top. So
I want the bots gone, but I realize that inherent in removal of the bots, the digital ID rears its ugly head, and there's got to be some kind of balance. Like, can you buy an Amazon? Can you pay for your Twitter account with an Amazon gift card and verify Hillary Clinton's panties?
the thing about the bots is like, yeah, sure, get like obvious bots out of there, but this idea that, you know, numbers will stop being controlled on the internet and it will be like this perfect system, the powers that be will adapt. Like, even if they did create a thing where they de-anonymize the internet and you need to have an ID to be on Twitter, there's still going to be like fake accounts. There's still going to be fake people that they can manage to like prop up and like insert into the conversation.
Yeah.
We would never know. It's the freaking internet. You know what I mean? Like, all it takes is somebody at the other end of a computer who has all the check marks checked. So that idea, the idea that the bots will be gone and there'll be no more foul play on the internet, it's like, no. They will just adapt. They will adapt. They will overcome. They're people who are trying to influence reputations, and it's like marketing, right? Like, it is huge. It's a huge industry at this point.
But the majority of people think that there's some kind of regulations. The majority of people don't understand that there is no real regulation.
They think there's regulations. That's so cute.
So like, well, and I mean, it is. So like, here's an example. So like, you can run ads on different tiers for traffic, just to like, if you're looking at selling something, you can pay for lower grade traffic. And I lost where I was going. I lost where I was going with it. So forget it.
Okay. So the other outcomes for the Elon Musk and Twitter thing, the one is that it's the worst case scenario where he uses this to try and push like the de-anonymizing of the internet. That's not necessarily going to happen, but that's the biggest risk. That's like the worst case scenario. Okay. And then the other two scenarios are things go incredibly well, and he has to make the decision of where free speech is going to land for him. Because like if you take the First Amendment in America, for example, or even in Canada, like, you know, it's quite lenient in terms of what you're allowed to say. Like the one thing that you can't say in Canada right now is essentially like active incitement of violence towards a specific group or a specific person. Like if you consider how specific that is, there's still a lot you could say and get away with, which is nowhere near what the terms of service of YouTube or Twitter is right now. So the question is, like, you know, in between those two poles of like the Constitution or like, you know, the First Amendment and like where the terms of service are right now for Twitter, where is it going to land in between there? That's probably the best case scenario in terms of Elon getting to actually decide where that's going to be and kind of getting to define, you know, what free speech on the internet will look like on Twitter. And then
I think it's better having one person define it rather than like a conglomerate of like a board of people,
a room full
like
of
Twitter's
sociology
board
majors
of people.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is basically that people are going to put pressure on the platform to test that free speech, right? Like, you're going to have people who are going to be Holocaust deniers, or you're going to have people who are going to be, you know, like, so it's illegal in certain countries. So what are the legalities on that? So they're going to test all of these things. So, I mean, like, it could be a legal nightmare for somebody who ends up owning it, and, you know, who knows? And it could ultimately end up destroying Twitter. But then what of Facebook? Right? Why is it okay for Mark Zuckerberg to own Facebook, and WhatsApp, and others?
And I think that's probably, I mean, I suppose all these things can kind of happen at once in a sense, but that kind of leads into my third scenario of how this plays out, which is essentially what you just said, which is, despite Elon owning the platform and getting to do what he wants to do with it, there's going to be a whole bunch of pressure from different institutes. Like, hey, what if Google Play Store wants to take Twitter off of the App Store? Or like, you know what I mean?
Because of the owners,
that would be, that would
because
be,
of the free speech implications.
That would be devastating for Twitter. And like, you know, maybe they'll try to cancel it in some other way. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you believe speech is violence?
Well, can we talk about?
I think that might be the answer, or the title of this.
Speech is violence.
Do you believe
speech is violence?
Do you believe speech is violence?
Actually, free speech is genocide, Mark. And let me tell you why. Because I wrote an essay about it at a university. Therefore, it's real.
I heard. I'm referencing myself. Thank you very much.
I'm referencing myself. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm quoting Foucault. Okay, I know what I'm talking about.
And I am almost graduated.
Yeah. I am an intellect. Hello. So, but
Six,
can we talk about
six
these people?
six heavy pours in, right? Like,
Yeah. I spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars on my education, and I have tenure, and I deliver lectures
girls
on
like
the
this.
implications of the Spice
This is
Girls on
downtown Guelph.
21st
If you're
century
walking downtown
modern
Guelph,
femininity.
this is what you overhear.
This is
It's
downtown
unbelievable.
Guelph.
Yes.
Amazing.
At 11 p.m. on a Saturday night or a Friday night, if you're out, that's what you
Yeah.
do. It's incredible. So yeah, I don't know.
I-
Elon Musk, is he going to fix Twitter? Maybe. Do you believe speech is violence?
No, I think
Sticks and
speech is
stones.
speech. I think speech is speech, and I think that I think words and speech are very important. And I think that,
But that's not the same as, so the
where are you going with
goal.
this?
Well, the goal of the Trudeau government, they're saying, and like the West right
Mm,
now is saying, speech is equal to violence. If I say
right.
something mean to you, that is
Yeah.
exactly the same as me punching you in the face through the,
Yeah.
right? That's the same thing. And I'm asking you, do you think that speech is exactly the same as violence? I think the suppression of speech that might be a good t-shirt. The suppression of speech is violence. I think the suppression of speech is violence.
Yeah. No, I think that it's only a fringe minority in the Canadian government and these little Canadian organizations that are pushing all of this to try and control all speech
the
on
little
the internet.
fringe here.
It's a tiny group of people. No,
Yeah.
seriously, all the organizations that are pushing for this, I have like more likes than them on
right.
on
It doesn't
Facebook.
matter. Yeah, they don't care.
Like,
their names are Jagmeet Singh, Chrystia Freeland, and Justin Trudeau. And this
Yeah.
may be all
12 people who want to censor the internet in Canada. All
That's
12
it.
people who think the speech is violence. It's this tiny little group, and they're not much fun.
And they're making it, but their argument, in my opinion, is terrible. Like the argument they're postulating is not a very strong argument.
It is.
And they're going to go forward with this. Like they are absolutely doing their best to go forward with this, and like trying to craft this in such a way that it gets through the Senate, and like they're allowed.
And you know what? And you know why they're having a hard time?
Because they're lying liars and they're kind of stupid.
And there's really, once again, it's the same thing as the trucker convoy. Like there was no violence going on. There's no real inflammatory, genuine, crazy neo-Nazis in Canada. Like, like they don't exist. They aren't out there. They might find comments here and there, but even then, like they're not finding enough to even justify it. That's why they're having such a hard time.
There's no named group. Diagolon doesn't count.
Shout outs to Diagolon. We love Diagolon.
Right. It's true.
The number one meme country invented by Jeremy McKenzie.
Yes.
Man, he is. I want to cover his story more because like the stuff he's going through right now, he's being persecuted. Like it's actually just people need to know about it because people don't understand how bad it is.
If the original plan, let me tell you this, and like I don't have any evidence to back this up. I don't have anything other than a feeling in my gut based on how they were acting, how the Biden administration has treated the January 6th people, etc. They wanted to do what they're doing to Jeremy. To everybody. If they wanted to do it to you because you have associations with him, they wanted to do it to me. Then there was a night you messaged and sent him and Derek were having a live stream. It was like just before the convoy, and I was interviewing people in the convoy. I was going to interview him, Jeremy. And like, wish him a good, have fun up there type deal. And I wasn't sure if Rance was going, but whatever. I went on the stream for a while. So like they were going to do what they're doing to him, to anybody connected to him. Right. Like that's the whole, I feel like that was the goal. They were going to take that freedom convoy and invert it on people and take away their freedom because of their participation in that. And
January 6th was easy because people actually died, right? So they were able to associate it with death.
They died because an American,
I know,
because the guard shot somebody. Who was unarmed
but still, like even if somebody tripped and fell and died, like it was a horrible accident that happened at the trucker convoy, for example, that would still be the only thing that people talked about. Even if it was a death completely unrelated to the protest, it wouldn't matter. It would still be, oh my God, there was deaths at this protest, right? Because that's all it takes is like this simple headline that people can basically be sold on. And it was easy on January 6th because there was deaths to associate with everything going on. That didn't happen on on January 22nd. That didn't, or 29th. That didn't happen. Yeah, for 3 weeks in Ottawa.
The trucker convoy.
So what they've been trying to do, the best thing they have is Jeremy McKenzie's podcast audience. And like this like little mean country, and like that kind of these inflammatory jokes he makes about how much people hate the Canadian government right now. And basically saying like, oh, look at these. And for people who don't know this, long story short, what we're talking about is Jeremy McKenzie has a popular podcast on Canadian politics, and the legacy news media in Canada, the House of Commons and the Canadian Senate have taken a running joke on this veterans podcast, on Jeremy McKenzie's podcast called Diagolon. They've taken this running joke and they've called it a neo-fascist accelerationist militia. Like they've pulled this out of their behinds, this total invention of a militia existing when really it's just an audience for a veterans podcast. And it's been mentioned in the House of Commons. It's been mentioned in the Senate. And they're trying to associate that, like, bringing it into the news items that are coming up. Oh, why did they call the Emergencies Act? Why did they call the Emergencies Act? They were trying to use Diagolon to justify the Emergencies Act.
They were.
Like, we kind of know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I highlighted it on my show. And yeah, so I think they were trying to bury anybody who had anything to do with it, anybody who promoted it, but they couldn't because there was a bank run that they started with their emergencies declaration, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So like things changed, but that's my gut feeling on that. So
shout out to Jeremy McKenzie. We love Jeremy McKenzie.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Before we move on, can we talk about these people who are like, I think I'm going to leave Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I'm just going to leave it because of the Elon Musk thing. And really, this is all about free speech for white men. This is all about white power. Actually,
are people doing that with this now too?
Really? Oh yeah. Of course. Everything.
That's funny. I mean, like, so I kind of make jokes about it, but it's one of those other things that sometimes I make jokes and then I delete the joke because I'm like, that's too close to reality. People won't be able to tell. Like they'll think I'm now I've switched sides, and I'm like, because I'm trying to parody it, they'll be like, what? Like, what do you mean you support that? And it's like, you have to explain your joke. It doesn't work.
It's satire, guys.
Yeah,
it's
right. Like, but yeah, it's so charged, and their well of white supremacy it hasn't run dry yet. They keep going to it. It's unbelievable. It's like, we're going there.
Do you know what it is though? You know what it is? These are just people with chronic personality disorders where they need attention.
Encouraged personality disorders?
Encouraged?
Like groomed personality disorders by teachers. You know what I mean? Like or media.
It comes down to the narcissistic social media thing of wanting attention. Like, why are they saying they're going to leave Twitter? Because they want attention. You think they're actually going to leave Twitter? No, because they want attention and they know how to get it on Twitter. Like, it's, you guys aren't leaving Twitter. It's not going to happen. You're going to leave. Like what Sean King, you know who Sean King is? This guy who's like white and thinks he's black or something.
Oh, him. Yeah.
Yeah. He deleted his Twitter or deactivated it for like an afternoon or something. And then he's like, I'm back, mofos. And it's like, because you want attention.
No. Because
it's
platforms like that are
impressive. It's impressive because they made the whole thing all about them. And
that's what platforms like that.
That's what these people are good at. That's
what they spend time on them.
But that's what these specific people I'm saying who are saying, I'm gonna leave because of Elon Musk. Like they're experts at getting attention. Not experts at telling the news. Or relaying the facts of a story to somebody, but they're experts at getting attention, and that's why they're journalists.
Journalists. Okay. Yeah. You don't have to tell me, but we have to start thinking about the election that's happening in Ontario in June. So Maxime Bernier, right?
What do you mean? He's not running. What?
I was kidding.
I'm gonna put Max on my ballot. I don't even care.
Right in. No, but I mean, so the election is like barreling down. There's less than 6 weeks, I guess. Like May is Friday. No, May is Saturday.
Yep.
So that seems,
I think what's interesting is I don't think the Liberals could have picked a less appealing person. Like, this guy is so unappealing.
He looks like a cartoon supervillain.
And like especially to leftists, you know what I mean? Like people who would typically vote liberal, like they wouldn't want to vote for that guy.
No.
This guy seems not it. On the contrary, if they were
Yeah.
to, if the liberals were to have simply put in a black woman or an ethnic woman, they'd win. They would win. They would win by a landslide. So I actually, and for that reason, I think they want Doug to win. I think they like how Doug can kind of control the conservative Ontario, because
Do you
like
think that there
I
are
don't
different
understand
teams?
why any conservative likes Doug Ford at this point. He's pushing digital ID. It's like he is not our guy times
No.
100.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why people like
well,
I
people
even
look
know
at the
conservative people who are like, oh well, he's our guy. It's like, no, man, he's not our guy. He has this. I've told you this before. I think I know I'm going off right now, but
no,
Doug Ford is to conservatives as Justin Trudeau is to liberals. Like Doug Ford can screw you over and over and over again, but the conservatives will be like, I still like him. And the same thing with Justin Trudeau.
folks.
He can screw you over and over and over again. We are doing our best for Canada, and people will still vote for Justin Trudeau. Like he has
that weird
sort of like, he has them wrapped around his finger here in this province. And I think,
So the Doug Ford thing, though, I think people just don't know who else to vote for. Del Duca, he looks like a turtle.
Lex Luthor, yeah.
Or Lex Luthor. Well,
Yeah.
I said cartoon supervillain. Yeah, he looks like, yeah. But just like, what was his name? Mark Carney had the yellow teeth, right? Yellow teeth you're not going to get elected with the yellow teeth, buddy. And he's got enough money. You should get that whitened. But when you look like a cartoon made human, I don't know if politics is right for you, especially when you're like, the Lex Luthor and not the Superman side of things, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, I think, unfortunately, I think the outcome is going to be pretty status quo. I think that
that's
nothing's
exactly
going to
what I
change.
think. Yeah.
That being said, I think we can talk about what's happening with like the right-wing parties, because there are a few. There's True Blue. Is it New Blue or True Blue? New Blue.
Well, hold on. I think maybe Andrea Horwath loses seats and Del Duca gains enough seats that they switch places. But I don't think that Horwath, Del Duca, and the Greens together will get enough to unseat Ford. And I don't
understand how anybody can have any respect for the NDP at this point. Like with the whole move that Jagmeet Singh made, it's like, guys.
Well, Andrea Horwath's been terribly ineffective. Like she's just preaching exactly what the liberals are preaching, which is just like a loss of rights.
It's like, it used to be funny for me before, but now it's like I actually kind of weep for like NDP supporters, because it literally comes down to some woke gimmick. Oh, cool turban guy. Like that's literally all they have now. Like that's literally the only interesting thing. That and like free drugs and dental. Like that's like the only.
But it's not free. Like that's that part of all of this.
It's the bumper
healthcare
sticker.
system.
It's the bumper sticker.
Right. But our healthcare system's failing. What do? Expand it, buddy. Time to take care of teeth too.
But like have you seen the messaging coming from Jagmeet?
Yeah. Oh, he wants to eat the rich, buddy.
No, but it's so insulting. Like it's
insulting.
And it always has been insulting, but it's gone to a level where it's like, this is really you're only going to be able to convince people who are like in grade 8 and below, like who can't even vote. Like they're like too young to even vote. Like these are the only people that you're convincing.
People have paid taxes. Yeah.
People
like
who pay taxes are like, this doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
And like then $10 a day daycare. Show me the spots. How many new $10 a day daycare spots are there, Doug Ford? Show me, please.
Well, because but okay. So what do we have to say about? I mean, something that I am excited about is
Roger Stone.
Roger Stone. I think Derek Sloan has been all over the place since he's kind of left.
You're not wrong.
Left the Conservative Party,
mm-hmm.
But I do kind of respect the fact that he's trying a bunch of different stuff out, and that he's kind of like, he's okay.
You only have one life,
party.
Man. Okay, you got to make it count.
And I think that I saw a lot of people on my Twitter kind of poo-pooing his, he is Roger Stone, like, this is Canada, this isn't America. And it's like, well, I'm excited. I'm hoping something positive comes of that. I'm hoping that he tries some stuff out and that we learn something from it, because I really think that
we all benefit.
Conservatives in Canada need to learn how to win, need to learn how to have a successful campaign. And I'm sorry, grabbing the guy who helped Trump win doesn't seem like such a stupid idea.
Terrible idea.
Yeah. It's
the thing is, messaging matters. And if you and I said this to you in the green room, and I'm going to say it just because I think it matters in this context. If you tell somebody the God's honest truth, they will tell you that you're a liar, right? Like if you take somebody who believes the liberal ideology and you say, and you lay it out and like, listen, like, we don't have any money. Like we don't have any money.
Sure.
They're not going to believe you. They're going to say that you don't understand money the way Chrystia Freeland gets it. You know, she's a Rhodes Scholar.
And the thing is like, I totally agree with you, and Roger Stone would agree with you. And if you want to know more about Roger Stone, you can watch the documentary on Netflix called Get Me Roger Stone. And it's actually a good kind of introduction to the grim, dark, cynical reality of how politics actually works, how winning elections actually work.
Yeah. It's
and
dirty,
you're right. The truth, the policies, what's the bumper sticker? Okay, what's the dirt on your opponent?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can deliver.
What's the popularity? What are you wearing?
Doesn't matter. It matters that promise. Man.
Are you making fun of people like you're on a playground? That's because that's totally what worked for freaking Trump, his rise to power. It was acting like Trump a child.
Trump
on
did
a playground.
No. Oh, it was very calculated. Trump used it to brand his opponents. Yeah, that's.
I agree, Mark, but like in effect, he's like Ted Cruz, like your wife's ugly. Like, you know, like this is literally
what, but I mean, it got people interested in what was happening, right?
Of
and like
course,
people were like, oh, these like
it has nothing to do with the truth. It has nothing to do with policy. It has everything to do with like, you know, charming a room full of people.
So
yeah.
So why can't Canadian conservatives? Oh, your mic's crackling all crazy. I wonder why Canadian conservatives can't effectively learn, conservatives meaning like people who are not liberals and part of the uniparty, right? Like the people who need to communicate this with the voters, why they can't get there too. And like, to me, I'm jealous of the crowds that Pierre Poilievre is getting because they're consistent all the time. And there's really nothing going on. There's nothing going to happen until 2025 or till September. Like it's a very long like race, right? So like anything could happen. So, but I want to see Maxime Bernier going everywhere and turning out crowds like that and talking about free speech and talking about like quantitative easing. And you know what I mean? Like, I think there's an appetite for it. I mean, but maybe I'm terribly wrong. Like, I don't know, but people are turning out for Poilievre. They turn out for other politicians who are speaking for in speaking out for freedom. And Max was doing that, and he was turning out big crowds in the 2021 election. So it's just frustrating to me how difficult it seems for parties that need to be communicating well to actually get an effective communication strategy that resonates. And so, I mean, that's not necessarily a criticism of Max. Like, just because you're the party leader, you can't be everything all the time, right? It's just frustrating to watch as somebody who wants change. And I really don't see it coming, not provincially, not federally. It's crazy.
Not anytime too soon, unfortunately. I've said this before, and like the sad reality of in Canadian politics is everybody who is not a globalist, anybody who truly opposes globalism doesn't have a real strategy. Like they don't have any sort of real strategy or real tact.
There's not even agreement.
Get anything done.
There's not even agreement that globalism is the enemy or the opposition. Like at this point in time, like
broadly, probably not.
Right. Like if you got into a conversation with somebody and you said, oh man, those liberals in Ontario the liberals in Canada and the Democrats in the United States seem to have a very similar, strategy and messaging. And I would say, yeah, because they're all playing for the same team, the globalists, right? And on the conservative side, you've got Trump, who's desperately trying to do whatever he was trying to do. Maybe he lost, I don't know. And then you've got, like all of the not conservative people in Canada who are trying to sell us the liberal line.
And aside from the Democrats, playing on team globalists, or like, Jagmeet and Trudeau playing on team globalist, the key point is that they're playing as a team.
Yes,
playing as a team.
It's all the messaging is coordinated.
And that is really what conservatives are missing, because what holds us back, I think, is my principles. These are my principles, and I'm an individual, and I have my individual ideas, and we have a bunch of like individualists, which is fine. like if that's your value. But when it comes to winning an election, most of you, no offense, but like most of you, shut up. This is a leader. Agree with everything he says. You go long, you know your route, you're blocking, you're on the sideline getting water, you know, like everyone play their everyone play their role. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like that's how it needs to operate. We're far from that, but like, that's like, we need to look at our enemies and see how they're playing it like a team sport and they're playing to win. We can't have all these ideas. Well, technically this and, you know, it's, and I guess speaking to the Pierre Poilievre thing, there really is a huge appetite for it, Mark. And all it takes, what does it take for Pierre to surge in popularity? Freedom, literally saying freedom, and literally saying, I'm going to defund the CBC. Thousands of people flock to you. Like that's how simple it is to kind of get opponents to Trudeau riled up right now.
But anyways, dude, I have to go, and I think this is a good place to cut it. And I was going to interject with, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, but the moment's over now. Earlier, it made sense earlier. Never mind. So final thoughts, where can they find you?
They can find me on my YouTube channel, Greg Wycliffe, or on Instagram, Greg Wycliffe. I'm going to start posting again. I know I've been away for a while, so stay tuned. Thanks for having me, Mark. And I never, ever take a vacation. It was the part where you were saying, know your role. That's why I said no. Like, is that smell what The Rock is cooking? Yeah, he would always tell people to know your role. That's funny. Yeah. So and yeah, it doesn't matter. So thank you for watching, everybody. It's good to be back. It's nice to chat with Greg and catch up on all the crazy things, Twitter and Canadian politics included. And we'll be back again next week, hopefully. And we'll catch you then.